Thank you for viewing this YouTube archive of a Conscious Consumer Network broadcast. Please feel free to share it far and wide. Check out our weekly broadcast guide for weekly updates on scheduled broadcasts. Help keep us on the air by contributing to our network support fund. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter or get in touch via email. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Desiree Rover from the Netherlands with the Minority of One report. And yes, the truth is the truth, but even if you are a minority of one, the truth stays the truth. And that's very hard for some people to realize sometimes. We had a very beautiful conference yesterday in Aalsmeer, near Schiphol in the Netherlands. And one of the people who was there as a visitor was Melanie Vritschan, my guest of tonight. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you, Desiree. It's good to be on your show again.
Yes, you've been here before. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot to tell about what is happening to you, because you are in a situation that I have noticed that when you tell people about it, they sort of go, huh? And their eyes glaze over and they think, sorry, is this a psychiatric patient or what? Mm-hmm. But for you, it is harsh reality. And it's not only for you, harsh reality, it's for more people, harsh reality. And that means that you, how should I express this in a most correct or friendly way, you are being lived sometimes. You are being, someone else is doing things to your body and you have no grip on that. Do I say that correctly?
Yes, that's correct. Let's say that I was a few years ago non-consensually experimented on, non-consensually implanted with nanotechnology, Morgellons, what you reported also very well about yesterday during your presentation, and that's definitely a reality that a lot of people cannot understand, or when confronted with the first time, they will have like this you reaction. That is definitely true, but I'm not alone. There are hundreds and thousands of cases that this has happened to, and it's still happening, and it's actually on the rise, exponentially on the rise, this problem. And so what I'm trying to do, and co-founded two organizations, the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment and the International Center Against the Abuse of Covert Technologies, is to raise awareness for this fact, and also to have the EU to create appropriate legislation to protect our citizens from these abuses.
Yes. Yeah. You mentioned the word Morgellons, and also that is something that I know that not everyone knows what you're talking about. The way I explain it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is Morgellons is part of a bigger agenda, meaning
indeed,
what we see above our heads every day. And some people don't yet see it because they're not conscious of it. But when I tell you what it is, start paying attention and you will see, oh, wow, I never noticed it before, but this crazy lady is right. And what I'm talking about is what they call geoengineering. And with a different term, you call it chemtrails. That is the popular term. But it's also the term by which the scientists will push you aside as a lunatic, as a conspiracy theorist, or as whatever excuse they can think of. But the reality is that there are lines in the sky that are not natural. and they are not even natural as condensation trails from airplanes. Because a condensation trail, there needs to be specific circumstances at a specific height for the plane to make these condensation trails, which is really frozen drops of water, which you can see as a white trail.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is a chemtrail. That is a contrail that stays in the sky and even gets more broadly spread out, and eventually can see to it that there is no more sunlight that afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You can see that in the afternoon, in the summer. These are chemicals. These are man-made, so to speak. And in these chemtrails, we never know what is in them. We know about a lot of aluminum, we know about a lot of barium, and that has all sorts of gives difficulties, because the aluminum in your body will make you like an antenna, and the barium in your body will sort of light you up in certain circumstances, so you can be found everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would like to thank you, Desiree, for explaining this so well. Oh, sorry, I'm getting a call here. So, because actually yesterday during the presentation, I found that very good, because obviously, I mean, I'm a victim of these technologies that are also unfortunately sprayed in the chemtrails by this, geoengineering programs that the public did never authorize. And I was very pleased yesterday when I listened to your presentation, because I obviously am a victim, so I know this is bad. But when you you broke it down for us, I realized that it's even much worse than I thought.
Oh,
all these health effects, that is really terrifying. So thank you for the very, very good presentation yesterday.
Nice message.
Yeah, brought it home to me again, in a much clearer way.
Yeah, because all these substances that we know of that are in chemtrails have all sorts of effects on the body, and we need to try to get the stuff out. But many of these particles are nanoparticles, and then you have to think in terms of asbestos.
Mm-hmm.
And you breathe it in, and it goes anywhere in your body, and it's very hard to get out. And where Morgellons is coming in this discussion is that in these chemtrails, it's like in vaccines. You never know what is in it.
Mm-hmm.
And
don't let anyone near you with a needle, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, never do that. Yeah, and that is your reality also.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. But in Morgellons, you can also get Morgellons from the chemtrails. And these are fibers, artificial fibers, but apparently of a technology not of what you and I know what science can do.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds as if it is science for over 100 years or so.
Right. Correct, yeah. It's definitely a very sophisticated technology that...
Yes.
I'm surprised that we would have this kind of technological standard here on the planet. It seems very highly advanced to be something earthly, but
yeah.
And
some of these fibers have been found with a stamp on it, so to speak, and that was known to be in relation with the University of Twente in the Netherlands, because that is a university that is dealing in nanotechnology.
Correct, yeah.
And the strange thing with these fibers is, and so we take it one step even further, is that these fibers can do funny things together. They can communicate, and they can move towards each other or not, and very strange stuff.
Yeah, it is very strange and very scary stuff indeed. And in fact, this technology, as you pointed out already correctly, is that it's very advanced and highly sophisticated. That sophisticated that we even do not know if it really comes from this Earth or from another planet or universe, or but we can only speculate. But what is true is that once they come into your body, and you said they can go wherever they are programmed to go, they will self-assemble and auto-replicate to create certain tools that perform a certain function.
Mm-hmm.
So that is indeed true. Yeah.
And that it can be happening all in your body without your consent or even your knowing to begin with. Later on you find out, hey, what is happening here? But that
because our body is, if something comes into the body, it doesn't know what this is. Of course it will try to eliminate it. So that's how we found that these fibers and materials like seeds, hexagons, plastic pieces, and that happened to me and also to others, will extrude the body, and they're really visible. These debris, they're small, but you can see them with the naked eye. That's really a visible sign of, how we always say, how can this be a psychiatric illness when you have material that extrudes your body that you can analyze under a microscope? And that we did try to analyze, by the way, like maybe I mentioned last time, in the University of Leuven, here in Belgium, by a toxologist, who told me that definitely, I have the reports, it's definitely inorganic, it's definitely synthetic material, it's in the polymers, but he could not totally identify this under the microscope. He said that he'd never seen anything like that. So
this specific type of polymer, he didn't know what to call it.
The specific nature of this polymer and how this is structured, he said that neither he himself nor his team of pathologists that tried to identify it under a microscope said it's totally unknown. This should go into a forensic laboratory because we do not know what it is. This is new to science, so to speak. And it would go in a forensic laboratory, also in Leuven. And from there, the samples he had taken from my skin mysteriously disappeared. So the further analysis
of course,
in the forensic laboratory could not be performed anymore. Yeah.
So your fibers were a hot potato and suddenly, boom, they were gone.
Suddenly, I think something or rather someone intervened. And so no further analysis possible. Yeah. But I have the first laboratory of the first toxologist, I think we can say his name, Professor Nemri de Belvaux, from the University Clinic in Leuven, in Belgium, who tried to identify them under the microscope and sent me the report saying, this is obviously synthetic, it's material, it's inorganic, it's polymer structure, but what it exactly is, we cannot tell.
No, we have no clue. Yeah, well, if that comes from a university professor, then it's clear that there's something fishy going on.
It was certainly clear, and I'm not the only one who has made this experience, because various people also had this, that took samples from the skin, the doctor, and tried to identify it on the microscope, and had the same experience. So it goes to a certain point, and then the samples are either destroyed or lost or...
Gone.
Gone with the wind.
Easy way out. Gone.
Gone with the chemtrails. With the wind, so to speak.
Nevertheless, you still have the problem of these foreign bodies in your body.
Absolutely.
Nobody knows what these fibers are, so nobody knows what they can do. What I have heard from other Morgellons victims is that these fibers come through the skin and then it's very itchy and it can be very, very painful.
Indeed, yeah. The first experience was that, and I mean, afterwards I did my own research, so and I talked to scientists and professors about it, because when I went to the doctors and showed this material come out of my skin, nobody could help me, nobody could tell me what it was. And as you know, when I tried to have it analyzed by this university professor, the toxicologist, my samples disappeared. So I did quite some research myself to try to find out. And what I found out, and I have contacted Dr. Hildegard Stenninger, who's a very well pathologist, who is a specialist in nanopathology, and she gave me various patent numbers of these devices that this technology, if you want to, will basically auto-construct in the body. I mean, I know this sounds very, very high-tech to people, and some will have difficulties believing it, but this is really what it is, and what it can do, and what it will do once it is in your body. And from what I understand, for the self-assembling and auto-replicating process to start, they use electromagnetic radiation.
Yeah. That is the way these fibers are going to do something in your body, whatever it is. Their language, so to speak.
Correct. To activate them, or to activate the process, whatever they have to do.
I'm looking for stuff, because last time you sent me several things.
I sent you, I think, prepared this program, an affidavit from Dr. Hildegard Stenninger, where she talks about a specific technology comprising a throat microphone, which I have in my throat, also against my consent, of course. But
because let's recapitulate. Is that a word? Recapitulate. You went in for an operation.
Correct.
There were some extra surprises.
Yeah, that's and not good surprises that you could say. Is that first of all, I woke up from this operation. If I remember well, it's all a little bit blurry, of course, but because I was put to sleep completely. Is that I woke up, that was the first thing that was a bit surprising, in my room, actually. So normally you would wake up in a hospital in a
recovery room.
Recovery room. Here, from my memories are a bit blurry, but I woke up in my room, and a nurse told me that they had put me into my room because they thought I was well and I was okay. I was later talking to a surgeon that you also know, Dr. Rebecca Carley, because I know he showed a slide from her yesterday, and she told me that in fact after such a procedure, because it was to remove a fibroid out of my uterus, so you have to open the abdomen to get that out. This is definitely a procedure where you would like to have the patient in the recovery room. Not somewhere in his room or her room, rather, because they have to observe you. Something could go wrong. It's quite an invasive procedure, let's say. So that is the first surprise. The second was that I was, in a good health. I ran the marathon. I was very fit before. And the second bad surprise was that I took weeks and months to recover from this operation, and that I was constantly sick, and I felt that there was something wrong. And I felt like I had been poisoned. I felt I had some poison in my body. And very soon afterwards, around the area where the scar is from the operation, I had the first material extruding my body. And that was quite a shock. I had no idea what this was. I went to see the doctor, and some of the material is really visible, or was visible. Now I have less coming out, but at that time, my body was really constantly shedding this material. They gave me a highly powerful, it's called stomactol, anti-parasitic medication.
Yeah.
Because it just did remind a parasite. I mean, if something's coming out of your body, what is this? This was the first assumption, and this didn't do anything, Desiree, except of making me more tired, and I felt like getting more toxins in my body because this is a highly toxic medication. But of course, my problem wasn't solved at all by this.
No.
And just then afterwards, I started my own research, and then I figured out slowly but surely what had probably happened to me in this hospital. During the procedure, I was put asleep.
Yeah. You discovered eventually that you had also scars behind your ears?
True. Yeah, that was because what is also true is that after the months and years later, I sometimes woke up in my house like I felt like almost I had been drugged or so. So, and I discovered at various places various little scars on my body that were not there before, and that seemed to me to indicate like some laser surgery. Mm-hmm. And one day I woke up and with an awful ear pain, but really I first thought I have an ear infection, or it was really and pressure on my ears, and from that day on I had a constant ringing ears, like tinnitus, like a high-pitched tone, constantly heard. And I couldn't explain this. It went on and never left me, from that day forward. And so I myself had the idea to, it's not an idea that immediately came into my head, but to go in front of a mirror, look behind my ears and put a mirror here so I could see behind my ears. And there were quite huge scars, surgical scars. I must stress that I've never had any ear operation before.
I have a picture here. I
sent them to you. So
yeah, you sent them to me, so I can show what you're talking about right now.
Exactly. And
here's the picture of here's the scar.
Yeah. So, and so people, I think, can see that quite well. And that was what we discussed last time. Mm-hmm. And I went to a doctor, various doctors, to show these scars to them, and just have to have confirmed that these are surgical scars. They all said that definitely surgical scars, and then I asked a doctor to actually all the scars I saw, to have them noted down. So because then in preparation, obviously, I intend to defend myself against this abuse, and actually it's rape. It's a violation of my physical integrity.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
I asked her to note this down so that in view of a trial, because I intend to get justice for what has been done to me non-consensually, and
yes,
which is still done to a lot of citizens, without their consent, and so this has to stop.
Basically, every time someone has a surgery or someone goes to a dentist, even
that's a very important.
Yeah, there is the possibility that someone is putting into your body something that you don't want to have in there.
Yeah, correct. So it's very true. Yeah. And I know that for the moment, he's a lawyer himself. There's he did a few radio shows, so I can say it. His name is Richard Kane. He's a lawyer himself in the States, and he and his whole family have been implanted, and also the two boys who had little boys who had never had an operation before, so that must have happened at birth in the hospital, or via a vaccine. I don't know if they got vaccines, but probably. And we had them scanned, the whole family. They're all positive. They came up positive for radio frequencies. And the two little boys, he said that one of them at least, they're pretty sure it happened when he went to the dentist to get some dental work done.
See? Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah. So this is a reality.
Yes, and you might say we are never safe, because who can you trust?
yeah, you never know. I mean, the thing is, Desiree, as you you certainly most probably know, is that it is so easy to implant a person against their consent because all you need is a needle, basically.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it can happen whenever you go to the doctor and get an injection, or you have an operation, or as you just said, if you have some dental work done. The problem is it's unbelievably easy to implant a person. So I think there are enough people out there, doctors out there that are financially motivated, you know, or doctors, or even higher, you know, other companies, or also military secret services. All these groups, and the problem is more and more private investor companies also engage in this kind of criminal human research.
Yeah.
So it's unbelievably easy to implant a person. That's what the public should know. You know?
Yes.
It can happen every time you go to the doctor.
Yeah, because we are being bombarded with how our pets are being chipped.
Yeah, that's another problem.
Is there a grain of rice?
Yeah, we're murdering our pets, basically. You know?
Yes, I've seen what it does to horses in their neck. It's amazing. Huge cancerous wounds get out of nothing all of a sudden because of the implant.
Mm-hmm.
And also with cats and dogs. Anyway, vaccination with cats and dogs, they decided, you know what, we do it on a place where we can easily cut off the part of the body that the vaccine was injected into. So one way of going about it instead of stopping stupid vaccinations.
No, it's crazy. It's really crazy what is going on, and I found it very good. Actually, I wanted to ask you, or also of you, if somebody has the email of Wilhelm Felderhof.
Willem Felderhof, yeah, he was the one
I had the conference yesterday, because it was very clear that he put a lot of effort in that, and I wanted to personally thank him for it.
Yeah.
But it is unbelievable what is going on at the moment, and I came home. It took me so much richer of information, you know. Mm-hmm. So it's all settling in at the moment, and I think the most important thing is that we educate the public, that more and more people talk about it, because I heard an interview with him where he said that he met a few air pilots that were, his friends from before, and they couldn't believe it when he said, look at this. This is not natural. This is geoengineering. These are chemtrails. Look at this. Mm-hmm. And they first said that they were always normal. And I heard in this interview, and that's how the process of understanding things and becoming aware happens. Is that later he got an email from one of his pilot friends saying, actually, I've been looking at this, and you are right. This is not normal. I'm totally shocked now. Yeah. So maybe, as you said, some people yesterday at the conference couldn't believe what I was saying, or thought, well, has she got suffering from some psychiatric disorder? But from time to time, and I would like to thank you for this program, this is how we're going to wake people up. And one is maybe, some people are going to go back to the program, maybe listen to it again, or verify what you say, what they're saying, and suddenly realize this is going on. And actually my family, my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband, anybody who goes to the doctor could suddenly be part of this non-consensual research program,
Yeah, and I'm in Brussels when I was there to explain about the health effects of chemtrails, or geoengineering, I should say. Mm-hmm. I met a woman, she was Belgian.
Yes.
She had lived in Australia, and while in Australia, there was a cat who was obviously very sick, had crawled underneath her house and had died there, and she needed to take that cat out. Mm-hmm. not knowing that the cat had Morgellons. And so she didn't have gloves on. She took the cat from under the house.
Yeah, I know the case. I know the lady you're talking about.
Morgellons.
Yeah,
Big.
and somebody got Morgellons. So
Yeah.
She thought indeed that she might have been infected by this dying cat, or that had died. It's a possibility, you know. I'm not saying this could not be the case. Personally, for me, it was very difficult not knowing if my disease was contagious. You know, I mean, I had a baby, I had a 2-year-old son, when this was discovered, and it was very difficult because the doctors who saw it, not knowing what this was either, were all saying, oh, you know, now I had to limit all physical contact from one day to the other with my son because they thought it was a parasite and it was contagious. And it's this very stressful, Desiree, not knowing as a mother, first of all, what you have, and then if you know, have transferred it to your child, or if it is contagious in some way, what are the effects not only on me, but also on my children, you know?
Yes.
Not knowing this is terrible. And
yeah, it's a nightmare for a mother when you're not able to touch your children. I mean,
indeed, yeah. So from one day to another, I wasn't allowed to touch him anymore, you know, and it was terrible. But I did this because I myself didn't know was it contagious or not. So it was actually to protect my son, but who suffered terribly because he was just a baby and he didn't understand why his mommy wasn't hugging him anymore. You know?
Yeah,
so it is
deeply traumatic. Yeah,
absolutely the effect it has on families, on, you know, on relations is really it's absolutely dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah.
This can destroy relationships and also for the children. And yeah, the problem is that with the International Center Against the Use of Covered Technologies, we organize these free scannings for members of the public to scan them for radio frequencies, which is what happens when you're implanted with this technology. You will emit radio signals, and you can measure them. And at the beginning, that was personally very traumatic for me, is that we had mostly people that were, most of them are highly educated, so very smart people, very nice people, but they were mostly, at the beginning, they were mostly isolated, either divorced or separated or, you know, living alone. And later, when we did these scannings with the time, we had more and more families attending, and more mothers with children, and very young children also. And when we tested them, they were positive. So these 2 little boys of this lawyer I just mentioned, who got implanted, who is now fighting a court case in California, his name is Richard Kane, are not the only children who have been non-consensually experimented on. And this, I think, is a core message we should bring to the public today. You know, people should really be aware of the threat, the risk to their own family, to their children.
But who can you address to get the court case going? Because who put it in? When? How? Why? What? What's happening?
Yeah.
Who can you turn to?
That is definitely a problem because, well, the people...
Officially it's not there.
Yeah, officially it's not there, but the people, even though there's, you know, material coming out of your skin that you can analyze under a microscope, but officially it's not there. But, okay, but yeah, what you say is definitely a problem. I can only say that most people we scanned were in perfect health before, were in good health, and they can precisely name the date, almost when this bizarre symptoms, suddenly started. And they tell us, when we tell them, okay, what did you have done at that time? Or they tell us that either they underwent surgery with general anesthetics, or they had a vaccine. You know? So it's either or. And so that is, you know, at least time-wise, they can usually precisely localize it. You know, they said it happened when I had this operation or when I got this vaccine. What is interesting in the case, okay, it's just difficult to prove. What is interesting in the Richard case is that he, from what I heard on a recent radio show also that I put on my Facebook of him, is that he discovered, well, we scanned the whole family for radio frequency emissions. All the 4 came up positive, definitely. And he was a lawyer, so he was very smart, and he requested from the hospitals where they had procedures all of the CT scans and MRI scans, and discovered that there were many more that actually than he had. So he somehow got a hold of his file, and he seems to have been lucky because they have to, well, lucky in the sense that they seem to have still the old technology, which we say it's an implant the size of a grain of rice.
Yeah.
That you can normally still see on a CT scan, on an eye scan. So where the anatomical focus points where they had come up positive, he matched them up with these CT scans he got from the hospital he requested, where they had medical procedures, and they matched up, let's see, at this exact point, they found a small bright object on the CT scan. So he has also the medical imagery as an evidence. Yeah. In the case of the new technology, Morgellons, the one I'm victimized with, this you will not see that on the medical imagery that we currently have available.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a problem.
So that is a problem, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So this lawyer, are these grains of rice, so to speak, can you take them out easily, or?
From what I know is that yes, they can be removed. I mean, some of them. Personally, I myself, and she's a surface surgeon, an Italian friend. She is herself a plastic surgeon, and she's also been victimized with exactly the same technology, than I, and especially the one we spoke about last time was this that is strangulating and a throat microphone recording everything I think and say. She has the same. And we contacted a surgeon in Germany who has already taken out various of these implants. You know, he's doing that. He says it's a crime, no problem. But he told us that, yes, I can take the ones out that are grain of rice, no problem. But this technology that you have in your throat that you cannot even see on the CT scan, and also it's a highly risky operation. I mean, it's not without risk. Let's say where it is placed, and is that I would suggest that you contact a surgeon that is specialized in the nose and throat area.
That area.
But that's not easy to find because. In my case, I had some CT scans done because my nose and throat doctor believes me, and so we ordered these CT scans. You cannot see the technology itself because it's apparently wrapped in something. It's that renders it invisible on the CT scan, even though it's quite big. It's quite a big structure. But what you can see that it has displaced my hyoid bone. So you can see the effects it produces. On this, it's the pressure it puts on the bone has, let's say, modified the bone structure.
Yes.
So in a very exceptional way. I mean, it's not something that you see often. I could send you the drawing my doctor did, and that we can see. So I have this kind of, but this is more circumstantial evidence, But this I have. And me and my Italian friend, who's herself a surgeon, so are still looking for a courageous surgeon to remove this, because this device is not only conceived to record everything you think and say, it also achieves a progressive strangulation. So this is very scary stuff. It's a real weapon.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I started with saying, is you are not in control of your own body because of this.
Correct. Yeah. It's you're not in control. I mean, your thoughts are being read with this technology. It's possible because this particular technology I was talking about, that is basically that is, by the way, made at the University of Twente in the Institute for Nanotechnology there, so in the Netherlands, really not
much. Yes.
It will record all this, what I think, vocalized and non-vocalized speech. So everything I say and everything I think. And it also has a wire that is going in my tongue. So this can be used for false speech. So I can be made to say things that I do not really want to say.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, it's that level of sophistication it has, and it's a total takeover of all your bodily function, because it connects to your nervous system. So, yeah, so it's pretty invasive, as invasive as it can get, basically, and it's a huge crime, not only against me, but against humanity. Basically, I mean, this is a science that was started in the concentration camps of the Nazis. So it's really, the situation is pretty grave.
Yeah, and Jose Delgado's research,
Professor Delgado, Yale,
is seen with the steer that he could stop with one flip of a button.
The bull experiment. That was proven possible in the 60s. So this is not a new technology.
No.
It's
refined and minimized.
Yeah. And now it has received a level of sophistication where it's really difficult to remove it, even surgically. But there are ways, our body is a very incredible, thing, and can do incredible. There are ways of healing. I believe we're currently studying this. I went in August. I went to see a physicist, Volker Zukale, who did very interesting measurements to demonstrate these psychotronic attacks. So that basically the mobile phones, the antennas that we have, for our mobile phones to work, we would only need a fraction of what they're putting on our roofs here. So he could, with these measurements he did, he's also an expert for the UN, for the shape laws. He could prove that basically his house and other people's house and the whole city was under constant radiation attack, constant psychotronic attacks. Yeah. So I went to see him with Dr. Ed Spencer, who's a neurologist, this August in Austria, where he lives. And with him, we are currently working on therapy which we hope, or he hopes, and I hope he can help us with that, could cure Morgellons victims. But we're at the beginning. But what I can say is that our body is, it's basically the ultimate machine. It can do incredible things. Heal itself, And I think that is the path we have to go. Yeah.
That brings me to my mind Dr. Robert Becker of the book The Body Electric that I showed yesterday. He used techniques like this to the well-being of animals and humans.
Yeah.
By giving electromagnetic impulses in such a way that a limb could be healed or grow back even.
I heard that yesterday.
Like with a lizard, when it grows back, he had studied that, and it had to do with electromagnetic impulses.
Right.
This technology that you're talking about is using the same idea and then bringing it in a negative way. And frankly, I think we can conclude that what is being done to you is a prelude to transhumanism.
Absolutely. This is the idea is to totally control the human mind and body. Yeah. All our functions, surveil us, totally control, have absolute control. And what I think everybody can deduct for himself or herself is that if this goes on, we will be only biological robots, and it's really human robotization. And at one point, they will probably decide that they don't need, us anymore, or such a huge population, and will only keep a few, individuals, and the rest
Some of the useful idiots.
This is really a big population problem in my view.
Yeah.
And it's very important that people are aware of it and wake up to it, because this is really it's exponentially on the rise. As I say, we have more people turning up at these scannings, more people positive. So at the beginning we had a few at least that were negative, that came more out of an interest, saying, okay, this is free, I would like to have myself tested. We had a few people where we could not measure anything. This is the shocking news. It doesn't happen anymore.
Wow.
Most of them, all of them actually, that we had at the last 4 events were turned out to be positive.
Oh, wow.
Is this now via they have been non-consensually implanted in a surgical procedure or in vaccine, or is it just via the chemtrails? Because these nanobots, as you said, nanobots are also sprayed by the chemtrail. You breathe it in without not even noticing, and this I cannot tell, But the number of victims is definitely on the rise, And it's so important that we're aware of this, and because these programs, Desiree, the defense budget, everything, this is basically public money, right? This is taxpayer paying for it.
So you pay for your own demise.
Yeah, indeed, yeah. That's really what's happening, And I don't know. I never authorized that my taxes were spent for my torture and experiment on me, non-consensually, and all on the other victims, that this has happened to. So we need really some more democratic oversight here, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going back to that lawyer with his children who have been implanted,
Richard,
he has been able to trace it back to some event, but has he been able to trace it back to a person connected to the event? Yeah,
in some cases he does. So he knows a few doctors really where he has the person, Otherwise, I think the trial he's doing is against the hospital, But in some cases, from what I saw in his documents, he has really hospital in Santa Barbara, I think in California, this and this doctor. So this and this procedure. So he has it down to that level,
Okay.
And he's filed his complaint at the Superior Court of California, and he's filing against non-consensual implantation of these subcutaneous devices in the body of his children and himself and his wife, and also torture and assassination attempts. So it's pretty. But this is what it is. Selling it up. Yeah. So he is that lucky to know actually who is behind us, and in some cases really have the doctor responsible.
Yeah.
So if he, wins his trial, it would be like a precedent case for the others. So
what are the chances that happens? Ooh.
Yeah, I will send you the link to a recent radio show he has done where he from time to time he goes on the radio and he gives an update on where he is.
Okay, what do I see here? I have your site here. Yeah, well, I see next radio show September 12th to...
No, this is not on there, but I'll send you the link so put it with this video, so if people want to listen to it, they can check it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because this is strange stuff. Yeah, and it brings to my mind the fact that I know you spoke about a whole city being under the influence of certain electromagnetic frequencies.
Yes.
What I know is that they have found out the frequencies of certain moods, certain emotions.
Correct. Yeah.
And so we are being degraded to puppets, really. We do what they say. If they say jump, we do.
Yeah, it's like being a biological robot, basically. Yeah, indeed, they found out already some time ago. They can put you in a fear state, and for anxiety, stressful, good mood, bad mood, aggressive. Lethargic. I mean, like just in switching a button, basically. Yeah. And that is very interesting because already Professor Delgado in the 60s and 70s with his experiments. Mm-hmm. He, what people know less is that he also experimented on psychiatric patients and on people.
Big time, yes.
Basically, but there is a video where he experimented on cats. He had implanted them with biomedical electrodes, and the cats are normal and calm, and then he switches the button, and one cat gets aggressive and starts to attack the other cat and to scratch it, and so and so it's very clear that what we can do with animals, we can also do in a human brain. I mean,
yeah. I think I have a book about Delgado where these pictures are in, also with monkeys. Yeah.
Absolutely, there are videos. People, especially the bull experiment. That's I think
that's a very well-known one.
Famous one. People can look it up on the internet. Professor Delgado, he was a psychiatrist at Yale. But there's also a video that I recently saw that is on the less well-known experiments he did with psychiatric patients. And there, for example, there's one with a woman. He implanted her with some device, electrode, and he could even, then he sent a doctor in, or one of his colleagues, I don't know, and he put it on sexual frequencies, and she was making advances to this doctor. She was telling him how beautiful he was and that she wanted to sleep with him just in switching a button. So this can also be controlled. Even your sexuality can be controlled. I mean, anything you like. It's like playing God, basically, and we're the victims. So, so this was very important for me to speak out, because I want to make, my fellow citizens aware of these dangers. And
yes, absolutely. And it's basically like this. I started my presentation yesterday by saying there is no more science fiction. It's only science and a matter of time.
Correct, yeah.
A couple of lunatics wanting to implement those ideas.
Absolutely.
And it has been put onto a level these days that you and I know more or less because of your experiences. But most people have no clue. And I found one study about Morgellons that has totally excluded Morgellons from being a psychiatric illness. It is something, you can put it under the microscope, it is there, it has effects, it has nothing to do, it's between your ears, it has nothing to do, here, take a pill and act normal. It is a reality.
Yes, absolutely. And what is also a reality, what is the important thing is that, I mean, these experiments are not new. I mean, non-consensual human it's well documented, at least with implant technology, at least since the 50s, or even before. At least. But usually there would, before there would more experiment, let's say, on single women, psychiatric patients, handicapped people, people that were already vulnerable or somehow isolated, or that is still done. What we see now with our radio frequency scannings of the members of the public that we do is that it's really the general public population that is targeted. We have all age groups, all walks of life, all, and people that are not necessarily isolated or, I mean, we had whole families coming.
Yeah, basically everybody who visits a hospital or a doctor or a dentist.
Indeed, yeah. And that's usually what they say. They say, well, my child was okay, and then he got a vaccine, or then he had to, have some dental work done, and it was done under general anesthetic, or I had whatever a fibroid removed, like in my case, or that's what they tell us. They tell us
what happens. What happens to the doctors who do this, who implement this? Who are they? I mean, what sort of a person are you that you can be coaxed into bringing this onto another person? I mean, many doctors are psychopathic in my view, but...
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I ask myself this question often. Who are these people, I wouldn't say that, for example, your GP, because we had some elderly ladies who had never had an operation. They said they never had an operation, and they were always coming up positive when we scanned them at their right or left upper arm. And when we asked them what she had done there, or she said that she had never had an operation, that her GP was always giving her the flu vaccine there. So I mean, if it's only positive here and she had never had an operation, you can quite safely say it was probably in the flu vaccine.
That's what's left.
Yeah. So I do not think that every GP who's vaccinating people against the flu does necessarily know.
In that case, they don't know. But when they put something in your body while in surgery, that's a different matter.
Yeah, I wonder if these are not, I wonder if the people that do it are actually employed by the hospital, or if there's some secret arrangements to have some military doctor come in that you cannot trace, or, but
military here is the keyword, military. These are always military. Even vaccination started out as a military action.
Yeah, indeed.
By the way, this Jose Delgado we were talking about, I have a NATO book from 1981, I think it is. I don't know. It's downstairs. I can't go and get it right now. But that is a book on the biology of aggression. And in that book, that book is a compilation of articles written by scientists who have come together one summer in France or Greece on a nice place where they have all spoken about the one niche subject they are doing studies on. And they share their views and insights and discoveries and this and that. And the papers from all these people, all these scientists gets collected into a book, and that gets published. So you can buy those books. They are very expensive, $150 or even more.
Yeah.
But I have a couple of these NATO books, and that is a military organization. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, and also what is important for people to understand, that this is an American organization. I mean, they sometimes think, oh, they have a European here in Brussels, Director General, or so. That has nothing to say. I mean, it's an American organization. That's what people need to understand. But what I want to say, to come to another point also, which is linked to this, is that the people that we scan, that come to us and think that this could have happened to them, and we scan them also in a Faraday cage, in a controlled environment, to really prove 100% scientifically that these emissions are really coming from the body of the person. The people that we scan that usually report these kind of, for lack of a better word, symptoms, complaints, also report then normally illegal entries into their homes, ransacking of their property, vandalization of their belongings. I am also a victim of this, and also my car has been vandalized various times, and my house. And actually yesterday, I believe at the conference we have not been alone, because when I got my coat from the chair it was on, I realized that there had been a scratch made in the coat, in the tissue, which was not there before. So I believe my let's say my interpretation is that yesterday at the conference we were not quite alone. Let's say.
Yeah. That's why I said, hey, CIA people, people,
whoever,
we will love you to pieces.
So that happened yesterday, but this is the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is that I myself can say that, and afterwards then I understood because, and I also linked it up with this book from Dr. John Hall, who was a speaker at our Harassment, where his girlfriend, she was also victimized by this technology and reported exactly this. Is that what I believe is that they implant you once in the hospital during some surgical procedure or whatever to get a few implants, and that will track you. That will, wherever you are. Mm-hmm. And then at that time I had no idea of these covered programs. So I had no alarm system. I was living alone. I believe that then they come into your house and drug you at night and put more implants in your body. So, make sure that your house is well secured, and this was not my case before. So, it's very important to secure your property. But what I had noticed is that when I woke up that I had several surgical scars on my body, like the scars behind my ears. So, that is what I think is happening.
It sounds like what Raoni Kilde said.
Yes, Raoni Kilde has spoken about this various times as well, to warn people.
Yeah.
And now I have a system that I have surveillance cameras, and I have secured my house properly, and I must say I've less the problem of these illegal entries. Mm-hmm. But at the time, unwitting, not knowing that such criminal programs were going on against the population, obviously I did not have that. So,
Yeah.
So I think that's what's been done, and these people are obviously military.
Yeah.
Secret services that know how to get entrance access to a residence, and come in and do things, whatever they're doing, have to do or want to do secretly and covertly without anybody seeing them. In my case, I'm lucky because my neighbor, she actually gave a written testimony to this. Once she saw two unknown men, very well dressed, so really like men in black, we always say, coming out of my apartment, and they spoke to her, said that I had just been in my apartment, that I was gonna sell this apartment, which I've never put it up for sale, and that they were very interested in my property, and if she knew of any other apartments in this building block, that would be for sale. And in this case, he even gave her a card. Unfortunately, she threw that card away because she's not a real estate agent. So that's unfortunate. But in that case, if she knew other apartments for sale, to call him. And later, when I met her again, she said, "Did you sell your apartment? Are you selling your apartment?" And she gave a written testimony with a drawing of this person she talked to. And I said, no, I did not. She said, very strange, because I've been approached by these two people that said they were real estate agents and that just came out of your flat and that you were going to sell. So I believe there's also a big looting operation going on here to retrieve the property of the...
Yeah, I remember Dr. John Hall. I had him in my radio show years ago already. Yeah. So he was also a speaker at our coveredharassmentconference.com now in Berlin in 1st and 2nd of October. That was organized by also co-organized by our Dutch partners, Stopek, Peter Mooring, Stop Electronic Weapons, Stop Gang Stalking, and we had also Ole Dammergaard there as a speaker. Ole Dammergaard, who was...
so I already knew him. So I think the most important thing is what we're doing, Desiree, is to make people aware, and do our part, people need to get used to the idea that these sort of things are going on, and then they can recognize when it is happening. Indeed,
sometimes it's very difficult. I was asked by a young man to come to his place. Last week I was there, and this is a man who tells me that he is being taken over sometimes, behaviorally speaking.
Knowing what I know, that's now I know it's very possible. But yeah.
So I think he should be measured in your device to know what is going on.
You should scan him. Yeah.
He has been telling me that he feels like he is victim of something that he cannot. He cannot control. And once, your first reaction is to think, uh-oh, psychiatry, uh-oh, here I don't want to have anything to do with it. But there are other tones to be heard in what he says and how he says it that make you doubt whether it's psychiatric, because it sounds so outlandish, but he is sounding so serious that those two things don't wash. So it is very difficult. And his partner has been trying to help him when he is being taken over, to get him back where he should be here, grounded on this earth. And after 6 years, she is at the end of her possibility. I mean, she has no more energy to live that relationship for the two of them, because that is what she's basically doing.
I can understand that. Well, I can only say to that we know that already in the 60s and 70s there were these CIA was this MK Ultra program. The CIA was basically trained assassins that would assassinate a target, and have no recollection of it, This is definitely what this technology can do and will do, As we've said before, it can control all your emotions, and also Professor Delgado beautifully, I'm saying beautifully, it's not beautiful at all. He demonstrated very clearly, let's say, that all of the emotions could be controlled, and that aggressions, for example, could be triggered, and without the person being, so to speak, himself or herself at that moment. It's the technology that makes you do that, because they have control all your neurological functions. So yes, we have that quite often. And at the beginning, I mean, had I not been a victim to this, I would probably also said, well, I think this is some mental case here. But now I know that is definitely possible, and it's definitely done. And I see a lot of relationships, just like you just mentioned, break up of it because one partner is victimized and the other is not. And for the other one, it's very difficult to live with that or understand what is happening.
I know now that this person, he has become very aggressive in a moment, so he has thrown some stone or whatever. So she has a blue hip now, and oh gosh, it's drama.
Yeah, I understand that. We are also in contact with Robert Duncan, who worked actually for the CIA and the Department of Defense on the development of these technologies. He hadn't realized quite at the beginning that they make them come with attractive offers, and he hadn't quite realized how all these technologies would be put together to create the ultimate weapon, so to speak.
That's how they do it.
And he's now speaking out quite often against that, and he's totally left their circles, and he doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. But he's raising awareness to this. He said, he wrote, I recently read a report from him. He wrote there that one of the declared objects of this technology, of these weapons, is to make you either to harm yourself, or to make you harm another person. And I know that Lars Rutgert, who was, he's an engineer, and he did this testing for us in the International Center Against abuse of cover technologies, he once told me that you can also give audible commands to the person via these implants. Technology. It's called voice to skull. Yeah. And he, for example, it was his family, and one of his child in his family played with another child, and he was feeling a lot of aggression suddenly, towards this other child, which did nothing, just play with his cousin, or and he heard voices saying, "Kill this one, kill this child, kill." So he could work against it, but that's what they're doing, If they manage to criminalize you or to do something criminal, then once you're in the penitentiary system, they can even experiment more easily on you.
Even more, yes.
In a psychiatric ward, that's the same. So
yeah.
And Robert Duncan, who worked for the CIA, he described this quite clearly, that these are the objectives. And if they can make you to hurt someone, then they have even a bigger grasp, control on you later. So,
yeah, of course. Yeah. Because if you realize what has happened afterwards, that your body has done that without your knowing or consent, that's totally weird. So
I mean, it's very difficult to explain that to a psychiatrist, because that's where you usually end up, when you have these kind of claims.
But they don't know anything.
Yeah, and I can tell you that last year, I think I mentioned it last time on the show, that I came back over the Christmas holidays with a friend who stayed with me, and we had done a lot of Christmas shopping, wanted to do a nice meal and invite a few victims here, because they're often over the holidays alone.
Yeah.
And when I came in the entrance hall, there were 3 police officers that just grabbed me. They put handcuffs on me, and they gave the keys to my friend so that she could at least go into my apartment, and they drove me to a psychiatric hospital in Brussels, well, the university hospital, but to psychiatry here, handcuffed, without explaining what was going on, like I was a criminal. And after 2 or 3 hours discussion with the psychiatrist, who also called my doctor, and he confirmed everything I said, and he said she has proof of everything she's claiming to be a victim of. And he said I was part of an international study, that we did these tests in a Faraday cage. What were the results? He let me go. But I mean, I'm probably one of the very few people that could actually make the psychiatrist understand, and I had the proof to back it up, and my doctor also confirmed what I had declared. So in my case, they couldn't get me further. But that's what's happened. And I'm just, this week I saw another victim in Menen, in Belgium, in a psychiatric hospital, who, he's now thinking about suicide because he thinks that he's never going to get out anymore. And he's held against his will. And so I'm seeing this all the time. And so this is also very important, that we educate the psychiatrists. I mean, some are money-driven. They will not listen to you. They will just prescribe whatever medication they can prescribe.
Which will not work.
No, which will not work, of course. And it's like a second victimization, which is even worse than the first, almost. When you have to take all this medication and you're told you're crazy when you're a victim of this technology. But we have some now that have woken up and that are listening. And we had this professor, who's he called, from the University of Newfoundland in Canada, Professor Gadjit, who wrote an article in the Journal for Medical Psychiatry, or Medical Journal for Psychiatry, saying that this is actually a form of terrorism, and that in future it will be more and more difficult to, even for the psychiatrists or for mental health personnel, to decide who is actually really mentally ill or who's a victim of this technology.
Yeah, great.
So so we're slowly, waking up the right people and also getting through with doctors.
Yeah. What I will do, we have in Holland a young psychiatrist who organizes psychiatry conferences each year, but that is complementary directed psychiatry. I'm going to explain him this story, and he can watch this video if he wants to. But if he reads the article of the person that you just mentioned,
that is on the ISAC website. I will send you the link. Yeah,
that would be a good idea, because then it can get known in Holland, in the Netherlands, at a different level also, because he is quite a standing, of course not with a mainstream psychiatrist, but there is something happening in psychiatry in Holland, that there are more people open to look at different ways of doing things within, of course, the ways that they are supposed to walk. I mean,
absolutely.
Marginal, complementary or alternative, but okay.
Some are, like we said yesterday in the conference, open-minded more, or let's say they're open to other possibilities as well. There's one interesting case also in the Netherlands, a person that I know that worked on the last covered harassment conference here in Brussels quite a lot, Kim Merckx, and he was picked up against his consent. He was locked in psychiatry for a few weeks, and he managed to get out, and he's now made a trial against, he was held against his consent, and he seems to have won all his cases. So at least for non-consensual, well, keeping him there without his consent and with arbitrary arrest. Confinement, So things are slowly changing, and for us it's very important to educate these uninformed mental health workers, like psychiatrists, psychologists. And
people need to know.
Yeah,
it's like the shaman in the film What the Bleep Do We Know, that the shaman sits on his island and he sees a movement in the water, and he says, I see a movement in the water, what is the cause of that? But what the cause of it is, he cannot see because he has never seen a ship, so his mind cannot construe the image, so to speak. When it comes closer, then he can see what it is that is the cause of the movement in the water. And then he can explain to his people, listen, this is this and this and this, and so this is how it works, and then they can all see it. But that is how it works. So we need, and I will try to help you in whatever way I can by this conversation, but also with talking to other people and trying to get their attention for it.
Yeah, I appreciate this very much, Desiree, because one of my aims for some time was actually to organize like a conference or seminar inviting mental health workers, like psychiatrists, like psychologists, to make them aware of that and to inform them about this so that they would at least consider a differential diagnosis when they have the person in front of them having these complaints, describing these symptoms, that they would at least first make it a verification to rule out that this particular patient could be a victim of this technology, and so not just consider them as a mental case, because this is then really a second victimization.
Yes.
When on top of it, you're told you're crazy. You know?
Yeah.
So I think it's very good if you could organize in sometime a seminar like this to make them. I have in Belgium also a few psychologists and psychiatrists that are starting to become aware and interested in this.
Yeah, but let's be honest, it's crazy. It's crazy stuff. I mean, who cooks this up? I mean, who does that?
These people are not human to me. I mean, you cannot be totally psychopathic. I mean, they are the psychopaths to do this to another person and more children. So this is really what makes me mad.
And you know, it reminds me of the interviews that I had with Patrick Wood about technocracy, He has written a book, Technocracy Rising, the Trojan Horse to Global Transformation.
Yeah.
Technocracy means that we are being governed by and manipulated by a science which is not true science but a scientism or pseudoscience.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
But it's a dictatorship. And some scientists, and I also see that in the arena of vaccination, some of these scientists are so into their tunnel vision that you can't even have a normal conversation with them. Because
I know what you mean. Yeah, tunnel vision. Yeah, exactly. And I will also, there will be another interview on another channel coming out soon about this case. I was talking about this victim who's in Menen in the psychiatric hospital, held there against his consent. So recently, this week, I went with a friend who's also a psychologist herself. We went, he was sending me quite alarming messages about saying they will never let me out. I'm thinking about suicide and I cannot take it anymore. So I was so touched by it. So I said to my friend who's a psychologist who's living not far from there, I said, we have to go and see him because he could really make, now there's Christmas holidays, he could really make something that later we cannot take the step that cannot be reversed, let's say. So we went there, and we went there with our phones that also have a camera, and we visited him. And I said, well, why don't we make a little video with you, with of your situation? Why don't you tell us on video what happened to you, and we make people aware of it, because there he's totally isolated, so nobody knows that he's held there against his consent. And we started to do it, and he started to explain his story, and obviously he crossed some politician in Belgium, and then they came and picked him up and then locked him up, so I had a fight with her. And so he was just explaining this, and there came a nurse came in, and she grabbed our camera and said, he has not the right to speak to you. On top of it, and they threw us out of the psychiatric ward without any, she made sure we would leave. And she said to him, it was really I felt like a prison. She said to him, you will have to explain what you just did to the psychiatrist. And so I said to her, Madam, it's a fundamental right to express yourself, and to tell others what is going on. She said, and you leave immediately. And so she threw us out. And on the way when we went out, my friend who's a psychologist said, actually the basic of psychology or psychiatric, the sciences, mental health sciences, should be or is, according to our code, deontology code, is the well-being for the patient, or should be at least. That's what we're told. This, what I see here, she said to me, and she's herself a psychologist, is really another form of prison. And it's the total opposite. And especially as she spoke to him, this nurse, saying that he had to explain this another crazy, thing to the psychiatrist who would come later to talk to him. How does he dare to speak to us? With all his crazy ideas. So that was our recent experience with in psychiatry, and I will make a film about that, a video. You will see.
You'll have the recording.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why I said to my friend, let's go on quickly, because she could have the idea to actually ask for the video. Made sure my friend wanted to discuss with her because she's a psychologist. So she said, well, madam, and I said, well, let it drop, because I thought she might ask even for more. She might even ask for the video. I will put it online. You will see the beginning, and then you will see that we're interrupted, and you hear this noise saying, "Oh, this is an interview. How dare you?" And you two get up.
It's so
great. We have at least that, and This is just to show how victims are treated.
Well, I know about that. I have been involved with psychiatry through a friend of mine, so I have been made quite familiar with what is happening there.
And it's really inhumane.
Inhumane.
and degrading treatment, and she was talking to him like my friend was saying. She said she was talking to him as if he was an infant.
Yeah.
The infant tantalizing him, and I witnessed that as well. So yeah, it's not acceptable.
Psychiatry creates manipulative people because you have to be manipulative to conform to their demands. And you have to make believe that you are okay with something while you're not at all okay with what is happening. It's very strange.
Yeah. It's it was. I would say another form of trauma-based mind control.
Yes.
What I personally witnessed, and the way she spoke to him. So yeah.
What I see in psychiatry, many people need an arm around their shoulder, and they never get that. They get a pill.
True. Mm.
Totally crazy.
Anyway.
Yeah. And there is no way. That's a beautiful thing here. All of a sudden, there is no way. There is no test to determine what sort of psychiatric diagnosis fits you. But with what is going on with you, you do have a test.
Indeed, yeah. This was what was so important for us to do this international study, to scan people in the Faraday cage for radio frequency emissions, because we wanted to do something that we could scientifically prove. Because that's just the difficulty here, you know. The nanotechnology, you cannot see them on a CT scan or an MRI. So we wanted to find a forensic tool where we could really show people, scientifically, this is what is going on, with results that you cannot deny. We also had a control group, by the way, people that had not displayed any of the complaints that usually are associated with this kind of electronic terrorism. This is basically what.
Yeah.
And we measured them as well, and none of them, we could not measure anything. So our measurements, as I always said, 0, 0, and our devices, and there was nothing to be measured.
Yeah.
So this actually substantiates the findings. The ones that we measured that were positive in the Faraday cage, they were also positive out of the Faraday cage. I mean, like we did both. Yeah. And when in the controlled environment, all of their results that we had collected previously were confirmed. And the control group, there was nothing to be measured, and they had no complaints. You know?
I'm having another crazy thought. Have you had Obama yet? Have you had Obama yet?
I don't know. I have the impression he could be controlled, or could be a victim of this. No, we have not had the pleasure yet to
invite him.
But President Obama did put together a bioethics committee, and various hundreds of our victims went there to give testimony. And this is online. You can watch it. Bioethics Committee, President Obama. And the result was that after 3 or 4 of these meetings, we got a letter. The victims got a letter saying that MK-Ultra claims, or of mind control, or this was already taken care of in the MK-Ultra investigations by the Congress in the 70s. So this would not be considered anymore. So because it has been already investigated in the past. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Very easy. That was the response we got from
some lawyer talking.
Yeah. So it was buried this way.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
But the videos of the bioethics committee, they are still on the eyesight websites where the victims are giving testimony.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think one important thing still to add is that we recently, in May this year, we also had a audience in front of the audition in front of the Richmond, the city of Richmond. And they decided, after this, that they would ban all chemtrails, mind control weapons, all space-based weapons on the territory of Richmond, of the city. So it's a law now.
Oh, well.
So that's the newest information. So at least there are some officials that are listening and are doing the right thing.
Yeah, yeah. And does it work? I mean, is there an effect in Richmond?
It's difficult to complain, to see if this is really working and if they're enforcing this and checking this. But let's see, if you are living in the city of Richmond and you're still attacked by these radiation weapons, these directed energy weapons, or you can report it under this law. The police also met with them, with the victims. We also try to raise awareness with the police, you know, to treat these the people when they get a call of a victim, that to take care of her or him in an appropriate way. That means not drive them to a psychiatric ward, victimized the second time basically, but to treat them as a victim of crime, of terrorism. So we met with the police also there, and we met with the mayor and the council of Richmond City. And after this audition, then I will send the link to you. It's also online. These weapons were banned, at least in the city of Richmond. There is a space-based weapon. There is already there was a case already before. The city of Berkeley, I think some years ago, already did the same.
Berkeley, California.
Yeah, so it's the same city now.
Because in Berkeley is Lorraine Murray, my friend.
Indeed.
Lorraine Murray, the nuclear whistleblower.
Yeah.
And she tells me that the radiation there and the electromagnetic frequency attacks on her as a person and on her apartment are horrendous right now.
Yeah, if she got to that, then they're not respecting their own law, apparently. But
there are such strange things going on, because in Berkeley there are foreign students, not Americans, but foreign Chinese or Japanese or God knows what, and they have mobile phones with which they can beam passers-by.
Yeah, true. Yeah, yeah.
And they apparently there is some mechanism also with frequencies that they get a feel good signal afterwards. If they have beamed someone, then they get a reward.
Ah, okay.
There's a rewarding system.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Lauren said, I see them do that, and I feel what they're doing, and then I see their grin.
Ah. Yeah, we also know that these people are rewarded not only maybe by this frequency that makes them feel good, but also by really physical gifts and money. And I know in my house here that this on the same floor, this when now I have a neighbor, but for a long time this apartment was empty. And when my friend was here, we had observed, she actually made me aware first, that there were apparently entries into this empty apartment that was just on my floor of people, you know, using it there as, to sleep there, and also probably to observe me or to commit their crimes against me. It's very handy because it was on the same floor. And if it's any, private investigator group or secret services, that can basically pick any lock.
Sure.
And one day, I heard somebody coming out of this apartment, and I opened the door and I said, now I'm going to look. And this person had just gone into the lift. A young person, very tall, very nice suit, you know. And I said, sorry. And he came out of the lift looking very, like guilty, a look on his face. And I said, have you just slept in this apartment? And he said, no, I did not, because I've just come here to say hello to a friend. Well, at that particular period, I was the only one who's living on this floor. So I know it was a lie, because nobody else was living on this floor. He then quickly went in the lift and went down, and my friend and I, we looked from the balcony, and he was a very young guy, I mean, could have been a student, although he had a very nice dress, and he took a red, these Mini Coopers, so
Yeah.
a car that cost some money, and drove up very quickly, as if he was not particularly pleased that he had been seen. And the fact that he told me that he had just come and visit a friend, this I know of course was a lie, because I was living here on this floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. Whoa. Wow. I don't know what to say. I mean, how do you lead a normal life, Melanie? How do you stay sane in this onslaught?
It's very difficult, Desiree, but I wonder if you could just take a break to this interview, because right now they're making me go to the bathroom.
Okay, you go. You go.
So I cannot control this. So if you can take it in a few minutes, I'm sorry for this.
That's okay.
What can happen,
Yeah, sure.
So I will come back quickly, and then we can take it.
You do that. I will show the website to the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
This is the website. Here. ICACT is an independent non-profit human rights organization. And I must say, I know that Melanie has been working very hard already for a couple of years to bring this under the attention of everybody. Here you have the people who are involved. And this is the Dr. John Hall that I spoke with in my time with Argus Oak Radio. And I will dig up the interview and listen to it again, but he was really harassed, kept from sleeping, and people were breaking in the apartments around his and making noises, and it was really awful. And I hope he's doing fine now. I'm not sure. I have to ask Melanie. The other people I don't know. But what I saw that is on his website also is a video by Barry Trower. This page. Yeah, here. Barry Trower is a person in England who has very detailed knowledge about radiation, about all this sort of thing. And he is such a gentleman. He takes his time. He's very complimentary. Says, oh, that was a great question you asked. He is very cautious. But he is very knowledgeable as well. So if you want to know about radiation, about this sort of harassment, look up the name of Barry Trower, and you will find a lot of stuff that you've never heard before, and that is very useful to know, because as we gather from what Melanie is saying, we can all be victim to this without you knowing, because anytime you are in a position that a doctor or a dentist can do something, you're basically, it is possible that you are being harassed in this way. So I was talking about Barry Trower and John Hall a bit when you were done. And I love Barry Trower, the way he speaks and the way he explains things very succinctly. I met him in 2012 at the Open Mind Conference in Skanderborg, Denmark. It was the first time.
Yeah.
And he had a dynamite presentation. like a gentleman with his cane. He stood there and he just, what?
Yeah.
It was really amazing stuff that he came with. Yeah. So Melanie, you would like to have more people know about this. So you have the website of the ICACT.org.
Yes.
There's a lot of information on there, I can see.
Mm-hmm.
We would like to have more people involved, preferably also professional health care workers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so I will see what I can do with the people, with my contacts that I have here. And well, maybe you could give a presentation one day at the same venue we were yesterday in Aalsmeer, the Zonnewijzer, the sun.
Yeah. That's can be reached from Brussels. You know, it's not too far. So.
Yeah, it's quite a travel for you, but voyage for you. But yeah, it's a great venue, and the atmosphere there is
very nice. Yeah, I felt very well there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's one way to do that, and I hope that people who have heard this conversation, they can also look up our first conversation where you explain more deeply the way that you have been harassed personally yourself.
Yeah.
So people can get an idea of how horrendous it is to not be the captain of your own ship.
Yeah, it's a total loss of freedom and your free will. Yeah.
Yeah, and my last question was, how do you do that to stay sane? Because that's it's difficult. Yeah, sure, but how do you do it?
Yeah, I sometimes wonder, you know, how I do it, but it's definitely not easy. You know, when you're harassed from outside and tortured. By the way, yesterday in the conference center, there in the business center where the conference was held. At the beginning, I was very radiated. So and even my friend was sitting next to me, said I could even feel this radiation. So I had really shock waves going through my body, because this is a necklace, it's satellite based. So they can basically, you know, and I'm wearing a GPS with me. So they have my precise position and can radiate. At the beginning, I was very radiated, and I don't know if it was the good common atmosphere in this place, or the frequency of love, or what projected back to my attackers. In the afternoon, it really stopped. It completely stopped, and for one afternoon, I was really almost free. You know, obviously, I feel the device in my throat and my tongue, and I mean this I feel always, but at least the radiation attack totally subsided, and I got a little bit of a glimpse of how my life was before I had these devices in my body. So it's like, wow, you know, it's almost like a shimmer of freedom here. So and maybe this was just the good frequencies that we gave off, you know, at the stage.
I'm thinking about what you're saying in that sense, because
provided some feelings in a way.
I wouldn't be surprised if it works that way.
Yeah, so, but what I usually do is, well, at the beginning when you're attacked, you're very shocked, you don't know what's going on, you get no help from doctors, you know, so at the beginning I fell a little bit into that trap, let's say was isolated, or I think the key to it, not to lose your wits, is to build networks, you know, to inform people, to not only, I mean, I have a lot of people now that I know that are victimized by this technology, and that also come to me for help, or, you know, like we had this one Finnish lady that we met there, who I said, you came from Finland, and she said, yes, I just wanted to be under people that would not call me crazy. Because in Finland, everybody calls me crazy, nobody wants anything to do with me anymore.
That was the young woman I sent to you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, So I know how it feels and how difficult it is, not to crack. And we had a lot of victims that committed suicide that just couldn't take it anymore. So my personal secret was to, first of all, knowledge is power. So to get on the internet and to get as much information as I could about these technologies, and these programs. And I realized these are programs that are not new. I mean, this is kind of experimentation is carried out for decades. But then to really build up networks, I co-founded these two organizations. I wanted something where we can get actually scientific proof, about these attacks.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
I put it off.
Okay. So and then, basically to turn to either scientists, doctors, some of the psychologists and psychiatrists to, inform them. Once I had this proof, achieved this proof in form of the international study that we did with the scanning in the Faraday cage, then I had something to show, then to approach doctors or scientists or to let them know, they can either call me crazy, and some of them did or didn't even want to look at it, but, like Wilhelm said yesterday, some of them will listen, or at least look at it and say, hey, what's this, my possibility is to not to be crazy or to become crazy. My way to handle it was this: to build up networks, to bring people together that would be interested, like I, in proving this scientifically, and then talk to the people where I thought, okay, this person might have an open mind, and might look into it and just go out and dare, And also, I was in the European Parliament a couple of times, so, but I tried to build it up first to talk to my doctors that I knew for a long time, that knew I was not crazy, I've never been crazy, and then, take it to one level and then work yourself up. So
you have a stepping plan,
and now actually I think it occupies all my time when I'm not busy with my son, which is my other priority, of course. I do this, because this is really, I think, one of the worst threats humanity has been exposed to for since its existence almost, because we're really, as a species, we're at risk of disappearing, of existing anymore. So that is personally what is driving me. And now I'm in the process. I hope it works, because I'm not a lawyer. French is not my native tongue. But I've just written the statutes for a new organization that I want to, really not-for-profit association, that I want to found in Brussels, because people I was working with now, they're often far away in America or in Sweden. And so for people that are more in the Benelux area, so I have written the statutes, but it's a long administrative process. And I want to do everything by the book, so that they cannot find some pretext to close us down, basically.
Yeah, you have to be taken seriously, right? Of course.
But my secret has been the contact with other people and people that were open to it, and that has basically kept me going. To break this isolation and to build up networks.
Yeah, I think isolation is literally killing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's self-torture. This person that I have visited in psychiatry this week, he said what is actually killing him, or why he's planning to kill himself now, is because he's isolated and he sees no chance of ever being let out. He's in prison.
So he lost faith in anything. Oh God.
So that's. I mean, then I'm not to say that this, there are not sometimes days where even I consider myself quite grounded and quite a strong person mentally, But
Yeah.
even I thought about this, especially when they took my son, because this is another problem. Usually people that are victimized by this technology, they will also, especially the mothers, they will also take their children, you know. But on the other hand, I thought, okay, if I give in now, you know, and let's say I kill myself, I will never have the possibility, my son will never know me, you know, and later he will never have the possibility to get to know his mother and to understand what I was doing and why it is so important that I was doing this, you know, also for his future and the future of other children. So
Yeah, sure.
so that gave me also the strength to carry on.
Yeah, you're a trailblazer. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so to, yeah.
You are.
So, that helped me then to find people like you or Peter Verreke. Well, he's a little less active now, but okay, at that time we were pretty much
that is yeah.
Then people also that like you just said that had kind of the same idea like me, because I was thinking of just this psychiatric information seminar for quite some time. Funnily enough, you just come with the same idea, or you know, or similar idea. So that's the beauty of it, you know. So I think when you do something and you do it with your heart, you will attract other people that think likewise. Yeah.
Synchronicity will.
Yeah. And by the same time, I reduced my own isolation and my own suffering.
Yes.
I mean, that's not to say that with what I have in my body, I'm not suffering, but it made it more bearable, and it gave it an objective or a goal.
Yeah. But not being alone in something, even if the other person cannot really help you, if you're not alone, that is so important.
Yeah.
Just another human being, warm flesh, warm breath.
Yeah, absolutely. Another person that will listen and will say, I understand you, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not living what you're living through, but I understand.
Exactly. This person that I visited last week, I really think he should be in your cage to be checked. Devices, because it is very strange what is happening. And in any case, with a test in your Faraday cage, we can exclude or not that implants are indeed what is happening
in the body, and that are causing these.
Yes, exactly. And for him, that is very important also to know that he is not crazy, that yes, he's right, there is something off in his body, and
like validation of of his claims, and not just being written off as crazy. This is another project. Once I have this association created that I'm creating now in Brussels, I hope it will work. I just mentioned this physicist, Volker Zukale. He has these very, very good and scientific and sophisticated measurements, this equipment, you know, to really prove this in real time, these psychotronic attacks. You see it on the computer. When you attack, it goes up immediately, so it's very good. But they're quite expensive. It's really professional material. They're between 2,000 and 5,000 euros. So but it's really, you know, you can go in any court of the UN, or this will be recognized immediately. So, and he said, I'm ready to train somebody from your association to do these measurements here in Belgium, or, you know, so that we could have this equipment. One of my projects would be to actually raise funds that we can provide, purchase them, and then he can train one or two people of us so that we could do these measurements, take these measurements on a more important level, you know.
More people, to reach more people. Yeah,
exactly. And we can also use it for a common class action lawsuit. Or
okay.
Yeah. So, but that's the next step. It's
that's the next step.
Project.
Yeah, very important. Well, we're nearly at the end. So is there something that you really would like to say that we haven't covered yet, Melanie?
Well, it's more like a wish, you know. We're close to Christmas. It's supposed to be a a time of peace and love. And I see you're doing another peace march in Amsterdam there on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that's very good. So I would just say to the people that are victimized by this, that are isolated, that have lost their job, friends, family, that you're not alone, to carry on, and help us on the way, but see also what you can do personally to improve your situation. But it's very important that they know that they're not alone, and that we're slowly but surely organizing ourselves to get justice for these people, and hopefully with the work that we're doing with Volker Zukale also to come to a cure. This would be my wish, and wish everybody, if you're celebrating, a nice Christmas, and do not despair. You're not alone in the situation. So that would be.
I really hope that some people have been recognizing themselves when they before did not know what was wrong with them. I mean, not to say that everybody needs to recognize himself as being a targeted individual.
No, fortunately not yet.
No,
potentially.
Yeah. But people who are having problems and who have no way to contact anybody that will understand what they're talking about, they can reach you through the icaact.org.
The best thing, we can give my email, or we can put it, in the that you have my personal.
Just give it out. Yeah, just give it out.
It's Vritschan, so MVRITSCHAN at skynet.be for Belgium. So you can write to me. I'm not saying that I can, solve all your problems, because I get a lot of emails of desperate targets. But I will do my best, at least, to be a person that will listen to you. Because it's very important to get out of this isolation, and to know that there's somebody there who knows how you feel, and So if we succeed in getting this measurement equipment, then we can really work on a more substantial level to prove this violation.
Yeah, you can help more people find out what's wrong with them.
Yeah.
That is about what we have been talking about. Yeah. Okay. Melanie, thank you very much for your explanation of today. And I really hope that you have a very good New Year without all the crap that they're doing with you. Because, I can't imagine how that is.
Yeah, it's really tough.
You for being so the way you are, and the loving person that you are, that you want to help other people.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on again.
Yes. Okay, dear viewers, that was the Minority of One report of December 2015. And yes, next week I will be seeing you again. Have another guest, another interesting guest, always interesting guests. And have a nice Christmas. And no, a Happy New Year is not yet. So till next week.
Okay, bye-bye.
The pursuit of a free, fair, just, sustainable world should be the focus of every person on our planet. The reason it is not is because people are kept distracted by the illusions and deceit propagated by the corporately controlled mainstream media. In recent years, the rise in truly informed, savvy researchers and journalists who have all taken to the air in various capacities has given rise to a new genre of media. We have seen the explosion of truly free and independent media, and thus the need to create an ethical live broadcast network that facilitated these brave and tireless souls became apparent. With a great amount of research and meticulous planning, Conscious Consumer Network was created. CCN is a first-of-its-kind broadcast network that is specifically dedicated to free and independent media with absolutely no government control, corporate sponsorship, or advertising. The live broadcast network runs full-time with an average of 25 shows and live broadcasts a week. The high-definition live stream is free to view and is accessible from any computer terminal with online access, including laptops, tablets, smartphones, and smart TVs. All shows are archived onto YouTube and are freely available to view in order to educate and inform as many as we can without imposing monetary limitations. CCN was successfully launched on the 1st of January 2015 and has gone from strength to strength as we have improved and increased the capacities and functionalities of the network, as well as an ever-rotating and improving lineup of content which is broadcast daily. CCN is blessed to be the home of some of the hardest-hitting, most cutting-edge, truly educational and informative materials. Catch interviews, reviews, and talk shows from the many different and beautiful perspectives from CCN's family of interviewers and broadcasters. Since the 1st of January 2015, we have produced over 800 shows. We have over 2 million YouTube minutes watched every month, and we have an average of 1 million hits a day on CCN's website. CCN is viewed in over 147 different countries and hosts broadcasters from 5 different continents. The time has now come to generate funding to keep CCN on the air for the duration of 2016. The total sum needed to continue broadcasting for 2016 is $60,000. This budget includes the replacement of computer equipment, the acquisition of secure servers, which are most needed as we keep getting hacked, plus the renewal of the broadcast license fee for 2016. This is a fraction of the annual budget used by mainstream media networks producing a similar quantity of content. This is what makes CCN so successful, unique and accessible, is the ability to run a project of this size and reach on such minimal resources. CCN does not claim ownership over any of the material we produce and broadcast, as we firmly believe that information is the common heritage of all beings, and thus CCN belongs to you, the public, and it is up to you all to keep CCN going. CCN would like to thank those who have contributed to the network in the past with resources, content, information, time, and energy. We thank you for supporting free and independent media.